Good evening and welcome. It is Thursday, the 23rd of October 2025. Thank you for joining me this evening. Our stamp set of the week this week has been Gathering Moments, and it features these lovely autumnal images. So we've got 6 main images, 2 little background images, and then 5 sentiments that go with it. In addition to that, some beautiful papers and some lovely dies. Let me show you the dies and then I'll show you the papers. So there are 2 huge dies that cut out large leaves. So we have like a maple or a sycamore, and then we have this piece here which cuts holes into it, which is perfect if you like stitching, because the holes are big enough to put a needle through and thread some baker's twine or some cotton, and have some stitched elements to your design. There's also this one here, which is an oak leaf. And again, you can either cut this out on its own, or you can cut it at the same time with the holes. I did think these would also make great shaker cards, because you could just cut that shape out of the front and fill it with shaker elements. In addition to that, we've got all of these smaller dies that cut out these elements here, which are these ones, as you can see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I've got 6 here. Work that one out if you can. Just trying to work out which one it is that I've either put in the wrong place. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so I've got, that's crazy, isn't it? I've got this one here. I've got to do this now. Just put myself out of my misery. This one, the little acorn, the toadstool, the larger oak leaf, and obviously the printed images here are smaller than the finished image. Good evening to you, Caroline. Thank you for joining us. Sorry about the reflection here. And then we've got this one for the little berries. And so, oh, 2 for the berries. There you go. Whoever knew that? So, I'm going to put these back now, because I'm going to use these in a minute. Let me show you the cards that we made both on Monday and Tuesday. We put these large ones away for the minute. I'll also show you the cards that we're making at our session on Saturday, which is our Buckingham class. So this was the card that I showed you on Monday. I think it was this one here. So I created this one from scratch, and I had a pencil line around a circle that I cut out from a die. And in fact, what we had to use on Tuesday was we just used a glass and did a pencil line around it, because I couldn't find my circles, which of course I found after the event because they were in here. So I pre-cut some circles for everyone to use, and I didn't find them till later, but we managed with the glass. So this was the one I did on Monday. This was one I did on Tuesday, so very similar, just using that wreath formation, which really does suit this sort of stamp set. And then I also did this one, which was just going across. I didn't do any masking. I did a little bit of overlapping, added a little bit of the copper dots on there, and the sending hugs sentiment. So these are the cards that we're making on Saturday. I do have a few spaces left. All of the equipment is provided. So we've got this one here that uses some of the larger leaves, and you can see where those dots are, where you could stitch those. And a little bit of the papers and some die cut acorns. We're using that lovely sort of copper paper. And we've got this one here, again using those embossed papers, but this time using a punch to create these little elements here. You can have these at different heights if you wanted to, and some extra die cuts and some punched elements here. And then this one here is stamped around the edge, and then we've got a distressed leaf, and then some die cut leaves, also some fussy cut leaves from the papers. So those are our projects for Saturday, and if you wish to join us, I have spaces that runs from 10 till 12 in Buckingham, and we do have lifts available from Brackley if you require. Right, let's see what we're going to do today. So Scott on Tuesday did a great job of fussy cutting some of the elements and creating a wreath card. So very similar to this, but he actually fussy cut additional items and placed them on top. So I thought I'd recreate that using the stamped and dies. So I have pre-stamped some of the elements. I'm going to be using the papers underneath. Let me show you those, and we'll get cracking. So they're beautiful foiled papers. It's called Gathering Together. It's a 12 by 12 pack, and you get 2 sheets of each design. So if you like autumn colours, then this will appeal to you. So we've got this one here with the gold foiling on the leaves. I'm hoping you can see that. And on the reverse we've got a basic beige sort of painted look. Not sure how much of that you can see. Then we've got this one here with some gold embossing, and the reverse side of that is a somewhat bright plaid. We've got a plaid with gold, hopefully you can see that, and on the reverse we have some espresso with some tiny little circles and lines. We had this one which is similar to the other one but in a different colourway. So we've got Cajun Craze, Early Espresso, Basic Beige, and some gold, and so the little toadstools have got little gold dots on them. And on the reverse of that we've got a very fine, these are tiny little circles, but I don't think you'll be able to see that on the camera. We then got gold stripes and a beautiful sort of wood effect, paint effect, espresso, and then finally we've got this one here. This is the one I used to fussy cut some of the elements from for my card, and a lovely Cajun Craze backing. So I'm going to use one of these for the backing, but I'm not quite sure which one I'm going to use. And what I'm going to do is, if I can just stop those from falling off, is I've got a large card. So this is 14.85 high, and then it's 2 lots of 14.85, scored at 14.85 to give me a nice large square card. Now I might size this down a little bit depending on my wreath size. So what I've done is I have stamped some of the elements, not all of them, and I'm just going to run those through the die cutting machine, and then I'm going to prepare it on here, but I want to add a base to it. Now, as much as I love these, I think that's almost too much. It's perfect on its own, but with a wreath on top, I think it will be too busy. So I'm probably going to choose one of the backings. This would also work. Decisions. I've got the plain basic. I could actually use this one here that's got that lovely gold. I think I will use that. I was going to go for something darker like this, but I think I'm probably going to go for that. So I'm going to cut the elements out and then decide, because I might change my mind and I might make it smaller as well. So there we go. Right, I'm just going to grab my small machine. So we do have two die cutting machines available. This is the mini machine, and a lot of people say, well, it would take longer to use this. Obviously some of the big dies you can't use in this, because this platform here is about just under 3.5 inches wide. So if you had this large die, this wouldn't necessarily fit on there. But what it's really useful for is if you've got lots of little items, is it's much quicker because you've got small distance to go there and back, if that makes any sense. So let me find those dies, and I've just die cut some of these. I intended to do these beforehand, but I ran out of time. But at least I've done some stamping first. So let's just see which ones I've got. So there's that one there. Just going to put this on here, and ideally I want some tape or post-it note or something useful. I'll use some post-it tape to hold it in place. So I hope you're well, Caroline, and anybody else who's joined us. It's been an absolutely foul afternoon here. It started off all right, and it was absolutely blustery and horrible. Right, we've got that one. We've got your cute little mushroom. So what I'll need to do actually is cut this up a little bit. So let me grab some scissors, and just going to, didn't do that very well, did I? Never mind. Cut these up. So I've got that one. Just reseat it a little bit. So there are embossing folders that fit through here. Some of the mini ones. Let's put that one there. Let's grab our toadstool. And I've stamped these on basic beige just for something a little bit different rather than the white. But you could obviously use white, you could use vanilla. Okay, let's pop those through to start with. I haven't got my mobile, I managed to leave it at the bookshop today. So I decided it wasn't worth going all the way back for. I'll collect it when I'm there tomorrow. Okay. So we've got cute little mushroom. Sorry about, I know that's in the shade, do apologise. It's in the shadow of the cutting machine. Put this one on. Sorry, it's just a little way off the bottom of the screen. There's that one. As I said, don't know how many I need. I guess it depends on how wide I want to make my wreath. And I could use some plain card to start my wreath off, or I could just do it sort of freehand on my card base and paper. Right, 1, 2. Let's add the oak leaf in. So for most of us here in Northamptonshire, it's a school holiday, I believe. Next week, their half-term holiday. Okay, there's the large oak leaf. Let's pop that one on there. Like so. A bit more tape. Yes, I'm pretty good. Yes, I've had a little bit of a sort of hint of a cold, but it seems to be waning. I've not felt bad with it or anything, so just one of those winter things. I also had my flu jab yesterday, but I don't think that wouldn't have made any difference. Right, okay, so we've got some leaves, some toadstools, some more leaves. Let's see, let's cut this up. Okay, so whoops, I've got this one here. Don't lose that one. Let's grab the other die, which is this one here, and they've also got those little berries, of which I have 2 dies. So half the amount of time to get that cut. What have I got to hand? Let's do 2 of those then. So you can stack them up, you don't have to do just one at a time. I just need to find the little dies for that. There's one, and there's the other one hiding. Let's turn it round the right way though. There we go. Just use that one to hold those 2 in place, hopefully. Layer on the top. And just run it through. Now you only really need to run this through once. You don't need to run it through and back. Other than I've got things right behind this, so I don't want to lift the cutting plate off the other side, because I might send everything flying. Okay, so we've got that one. We've got our crushed curry one, and I like the ways these bend in different directions. And then we've got some berries and berries. Okay, let's see what else we've got. That's the toadstools. Got another large leaf. Let's do that one. The week's gone past so quickly, and just a note that I won't be here next Thursday evening. I'm at the local amateur dramatic society performance on the Thursday evening, so whether I'll manage to get another live done, I don't know. So we'll see how we go. Our stamp set of the week next week will be a Christmas themed one. So watch out for that. Let's might as well do this one while I'm there, as I've stamped it ready, and then we'll see what we've got, whether we've got enough. Just lay those down there. Now I do have a punch that's got some leaves that I could add in. I've also got, you could also use other dies that, just move that, other dies that go with this. Let me do those two first. So if you've got any other leaf dies, foliage dies, grasses, you know, anything like that, holly and holly berries even would work, although they're not in full swing just yet. Okay, right. That's that one. Let's just do this one here. And what I'll do then is just put these together and see if I've got enough. As I said, I could punch out a few in plain colours as well. And you could also die cut some plain ones. Okay. Right, let me put that to one side, see what we've got going on. Okay, right, put all of these dies here. Before I lose them, especially as they're not mine, I borrowed them from Sam. Oh, I haven't got any acorns. There we go. You definitely need acorns. That's probably my favourite stamp actually of the whole lot. So let's just do a couple of those. Sorry everybody. Okay. Let's pop a piece of post-it note tape on there. If you've got washi tape or any low tack tape, if you find it's sticking to your paper, then just pop it on your jumper or cardigan or jeans or anything, just to take a little bit of the tackiness off. You could use it on the work surface as well, or a piece of paper if you needed to take that off. Right, there's one acorn. So this one is in early espresso. The other colours I used were old olive, crushed curry, Cajun craze. Okay, let's do another one of these. You could also make a really nice, especially with the big leaves, a really nice wreath for home decor. And you could add some lights to it. Pretty sure I've got some lights here somewhere. I have. There you go. So I bought these when we did a project last year. Tiny little fairy lights. And you could add those to a larger wreath, which could be, you could attach it with wire, or you could use some of those, you know, polystyrene, or the what are they, card I guess, aren't they, some of them? So lots of options available if you like doing home decor items. Caroline did a lovely one the other week, which was very nice indeed. Okay, let's see how far that's going to take us. Sorry it's taken me so long. Right, let's find a base card. Now I'm going to put a layer on and then a layer of paper, so it is going to be smaller as it comes in, but what I want to do is see if we've got enough to go sort of all the way around. So I might do another large acorn, and you could either build them up sort of symmetrically or completely random, and you can have them going in different directions as well. Let's put one here. Got our little berries and acorn to spread this out a little bit more. It's not going to be too far off actually in the scheme of things, and I am going to layer it up so that I've got different heights, so you can see hopefully where I'm coming from for that. So I think what I'm going to do is add another green oak leaf and maybe another crushed curry set of that, sort of like a smaller oak leaf. Let's see, let's find the stamps, and there's this one here. I've lost the oak leaf. How can I even do that? Okay, let's do this one in the meantime. Right, so I'm going to have another one of the crushed curry sort of oak leaf. Oh, lost that little bit. Hopefully it'll be alright. There's that one. It's a little bit dark. Let's move some of that ink around. So just move that with the edge of a block. Just going to re-stamp this. I need another little bit of basic beige. So thank you for bearing with me. Right, always seems a shame to stamp on a brand new piece of card. There we go. And I really do want the large. There it is, right in front of me. Okay. I want another large oak leaf, and then what I might use is a punch and a couple of plain pieces to go behind. Let's do that. Okay, just going to tear this because I can't see my scissors, even though I only had them 2 minutes ago. There they are. It's always the way. Right, so I'll just do these last two. So I've got one die. Sorry, this is just off the bottom of your screen. Just position that one die on there. And the oak leaf on the other one. Let's move that maybe a little bit more into your view. Hopefully you can see that. So we do have a Christmas Crafts Day coming up on the 22nd of November. You can choose a morning or an afternoon session, or you can come all day at a slightly discounted price. And it's my pick and mix event, which means you can basically choose which projects you would like to do. They'll all be Christmas themed. There'll be cards, there'll be tags, there'll be home decor, and it's the same format that I've done previously, and it works really, really well. So you basically choose your project you want to do. It has printed instructions so you can work at your own pace, and the majority of items are sort of prepared ready, and you can just work your way through. Okay, right, let's put those out of the way, move those out of the way. Right, so I've got some more of those. I'm going to grab a punch. Ooh, I've got some of that lovely bronze, sort of bronzy coppery, and I could use that, or I could use some plain. Okay. Just making sure I get the most out of that. It's also got this other little piece here that you could use. Let's just do one more. So this is just going to give me more, more things to bulk it up with. Okay, so I think I'm going to use this with the gold and the basic beige, because I want the statement to be the wreath. So, but I do want a darker piece behind, I think. So let's cut this down and decide what to put behind. So grabbing my trimmer. So I'm going to do this 13.85 by 13.85, and then I'm going to cut a layer that is 1/2 centimetre bigger. That's going to go between the two. So I've got pecan pie here, because I think espresso is going to be too dark. I haven't got enough copper, because I'm saving that ready for glass on Saturday, but I think that will work. Alternatively, I could go green or Cajun craze. Oh dear. Okay, this is Cajun craze. It's a bit brighter actually, isn't it? Let me know if you think any different. The alternative would be old olive, like so. I've got a fair bit of green already. So my temptation is this, and I've got a perfectly torn piece, which should do the job, she says, hopefully. If it measures 14.35, it was meant to be. There we go. Okay, sorry this is taking so long. Right, let's have a look how this looks. So that's going to go onto there. As I say, I could make the card smaller if I needed to. So that's going to be my 3 layers, and then I'm going to have my wreath. So if I what I like to do is sort of use the larger leaves as my sort of border, like so, and then build on top of that. So if I do these in a similar fashion, like so, I could add the toadstools and the acorns. Must be another toadstool somewhere. And then I've also got these pieces that I can tuck underneath. Like so. Okay, that's what I'm going to go for. So, put these layers together. Just add a bit of glue. Hope I haven't bored you all. Okay, let's just get this running. Let's try another one. Okay, so layer that up. So it's opening from the side. Yes. Did you see that? I nearly put it straight onto the base card. But I spotted it just in time. Okay. Right, this is on the backing of that. And in fact, if I didn't like the copper, I could use the Cajun Craze card for some of those wreath elements instead. Let's have a quick look, as I've got a little bit here to spare. Yeah, I prefer that. Just going to cut this down. I think I'll get 2 out of there. And I'm cutting it down because I don't need the other piece that's in there. That'll do. 1, 2, 3. I think I prefer that to the sort of copper metallic that's there, because it ties in with the background better. Okay, right, let's have a look. So I'm going to use dimensionals for, I think, most of these actually, because that's going to be easy. I can tuck things underneath then if I need to. So I'm not going to put too many on there. So, and I'm doing it purely by eye, so it won't be 100% accurate by any means, like so. And I'm not pushing those down too far until I've got them positioned, and then I can apply a little bit more pressure when I know they're in the right place. Two, 3, like so. And I'm going to tuck those. I'm going to cut the stalk off and put a little bit of glue underneath. And sort of tuck that in there. Is that one? Just cutting off the edge because I don't need it to go too far underneath the leaf. I'm hoping you can see that okay, it's in the right position for you. So. Like that. And that's just going to help me get that shape as well. Right, let's then add in this one. Oops, let's see. Okay, so this one I'm going to have sort of overlapping like so. Let's see what Caroline said. Oh, she can see the card. Oh, good. Okay, so then we've got this one here. I'll chop up these so I can use the edges of the dimensionals. We don't need to waste any. Like so. I'll always start, you'll have seen me do this, start with the larger ones. I'll do the same if I'm stamping because it's easier to fit in smaller ones. It's less easy to fit in larger ones once you've positioned everything. Okay. So I've got one in front of there, got one in here, and you can change the angles, and you don't have to do it. You could start in one position and work round. I like it to be relatively even, which is why I'm doing it this way round. So I've got 2 mushrooms, there they are. I've got 2 acorns. Okay, so we've got some of these here. So I think what I'm going to do is sort of tuck those under there, under that, on top of that. and it's certainly very autumnal weather, although it was absolutely foul in that autumn. It was horrid this afternoon. What did I say? Under there. Okay, that sort of makes that connection now. Although it wasn't necessarily my intention. Okay, so under there. Oh, I've got a little bit too much glue on there, so I can't put it underneath. So that's going to go on top. And this one will go underneath. There we go. It's getting there, isn't it? Right, so now I can add in the other bits and pieces. So I'm going to slot them in sort of the gaps as much as anything. So we've got an acorn. So I've got a sort of gap in there. Okay. And then let's put one over here. Like so. And you could have started by stamping a sentiment if you wanted to. Right, I've got these cute little toadstools. Or you could add a sentiment in here afterwards. You'd have to be careful as you were stamping it. Or you could add it and punch it out. Let's have him like that. And there. There maybe. There we go. Like so. And then I've still got the little berries. I've got two, and I have got another one I can cut out, and I've got more of these. So you can sort of start adding and filling in if you wish. So you can make it as full as you want. Just looking to see, it's actually quite sort of well spaced. I haven't really got any large gaps, so I don't think I'm going to bother with that one, but I will add the little berries in. And I've got just about enough dimensionals. Now there are some nice autumnal Thanksgiving type sentiments in here, or you could add your own. It would also make a nice birthday or thinking of you or a get well card. Let's put this one in here. Might tuck it underneath that a little bit, like so. And I feel like I've got a gap here, so there's my last one of those little berries. So I'm just going to cut that one out. I could put these little ones in if I wished, but I don't think it goes. It might have gone if it was gold. I could punch some gold ones out, but maybe I'll just add some gold bling instead. Right, let's cut this one out. Put lid on my glue. So I'm really pleased with the way that looks. So a big thanks to Scott for the idea. Scott fussy cut all of his, which was very impressive, I must say. Let's get my plates. So I feel like I've cheated a little bit because I've just used the dies. There we go. There we are. Put the die over there so I don't lose it. Bring my card in, and yeah, this is definitely going to go just tucked in there, I think. And the tiniest bit of dimensional left. So the question is, should I add a sentiment or should I leave it until I need to send the card? So I'm just going to tuck that under a little way, just so it's connected. There we go. Really happy with that. I'm not sure that the colours show particularly well. At least they don't on my screen. But maybe they do in real life. And I'm glad I didn't use a busy paper behind. The plain Cajun Craze would have been okay, but I think it just wouldn't have stood out over the others. Let me see what gold bling I could add to that. And oh, I do have some awesome bling which is green and yellow, but let me just see what I've got to hand and then we're done. So I have got some pearls, sort of cream pearls. They would definitely work. Not pinks this time round. I've got these. Those would work because they're sort of orangey Cajun Craze. I've got green. It's the wrong green. Let's just check my other stash. Right, that's that one. Let's have a look in here. It's beautiful. Thank you, Caroline. Right, so here's some gold. That's the wrong yellow. I've got butterflies. Right, so decision time for bling. Of course, you could use two, potentially. Yep, I knew that was going. So I've got gold. Let me take it out of here. These are gold floral accents. So is that would match the gold on the backing. I've got these sort of ivory cream pearls. Or I've got these orange. Let's carefully put one of each, and then we can decide which ones we like. So I'm just going to put one very lightly there. So that's the orange. Appreciate you can't necessarily see it. This is the pearl. Is that one? If you can see that one or not, you probably can't even see it really. and this is the gold. So I just put them quite close together so you can see them. Any thoughts? I'm quite liking this one. The pearl gets lost, but the gold works as well. I think this orange, and then I've got the three. I've got Cajun Craze here, here, and then it's not actually Cajun Craze, but it's very similar. So unless you think otherwise, and as long as you don't press them down, you can lift those off and you know, reuse them. So this has got attached to a red one. Okay, so I've got a gap there. Oh, I was going to put sentiment on, so I need to be a little bit careful. Don't know what that one is. So we want ideally odd numbers. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like so. But I think I'm going to reseat these on the outside. Could tuck one in there. I just want to keep that centerpiece clear. There we go. Voila. So all I need to do now is decide what sentiment is going to go on there, whether I want a thank you, whether I want it as a birthday. I'm not going to risk stamping on there because this is quite built up. There's a chance that when I put the block on it, it won't fit properly unless I had a small block and a small sentiment, or I had a a block with a cling stamp, so it didn't have to go so far down. I could also use any of the printed sentiments that we've got. So I know these are Christmas ones, so ignore the fact they're Christmas, but for example that Merry and Bright, if I had a circular general one, let's just see what that would look like. So that sort of thing I would put in the middle on dimensionals, but obviously not a Christmas sentiment. So I might have a look through my set, and I would stamp that sentiment in Cajun Craze or Espresso. You want something nice and deep to make the sentiment stand out on the background against all of this. So there we go. Took me a little bit longer than it should have done, mainly because I was die cutting most of it and deciding on other bits. So I hope you like it. It's called Gathering Moments. You can buy the stamp set and the dies together at a bundle price, which is 10% off. Or you could buy the papers, for example, and fussy cut some of the elements. So the papers are £16. And what I did on one of mine was fussy cut some of these leaves out. So the leaves on here don't match the dies. Okay, so there we go, Gathering Moments. I hope you like it. So we'll be at Coffee and Card tomorrow. That's Friday the 24th of October to make more of these cards, and then we'll be at Buckingham on Saturday to make these cards. And this was our bonus card, if you like, which was our extra one on a Thursday when I try and do a stepped up version. We do have some nice sentiments that sort of go across in a banner form. So I might have a look and see what I can find. But for the moment, I'm going to leave that exactly as is. So thank you so much. Let me see if there's any other messages. No, Caroline agreed and went for the orange. I'm glad about that because it's all on there now. And I look forward to catching up with you soon, crafting with you soon. In the meantime, look after yourselves, look after your loved ones, and I hope to catch up with you all very soon indeed. Do take care, happy crafting, stay safe, stay warm. Bye for now.